So but this is the process that we've had that works. I mean, the theists will say, well, you're making an assumption just like we are in religion. You're assuming that the universe is rational, and you don't know that. And my answer to that is it's not the question of whether the universe is rational. It's a question of whether we're rational. You have to, all rationality is making sure that when you're talking about a subject, that you're making statements that are consistent, that are self-consistent, not contradictory, and that they agree with the data. And that's all what being rational is about. And the opposite choice, being irrational, is saying, well, we have inconsistent statements that are self-contradictory, and they don't agree with the data. And what are we going to do with that? Are we going to pay attention to that? No, obviously we disregard all of that stuff, and that's why we keep just the rational stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well, good. Let me throw another question at you. The universe is awesome and mysterious, right? These things hit us at an emotional level, and they capture our imagination. For scientists, I think they enable a deep emotional connection between the scientist and his or her topic, the awesomeness of whatever field. I think the mysteries give us an endless supply of questions to study and answer. So based on my experience, religions take a different tack with regard to awe and mystery. They tend to provide just so stories that explain the mystery, often with self-serving hidden agendas behind them. As science explains more and more, these religious explanations have to be revised or retracted. Atheists know this situation as the God of the gaps. For example, mankind supposedly started out as pets in a little garden near the Euphrates River. The four corners of the earth and the firmament have been falsified. The earth is not the center of the solar system, much less the universe. We orbit an insignificant star in an insignificant galaxy in a vast and ancient universe. But even as science progresses, more mysteries come into the public consciousness, and religions are quick to provide explanations. Can you talk about a few such areas where this sort of spin is happening today?
Well, of course, it's happened all along. I think that you don't find too much new in terms of religious ideas. I haven't heard any new religious ideas that I can think of.
Well, my perception is that it's often spin on new science, right? Where they're taking new science and giving it a religious interpretation. For example,
give me an example, because I don't find
like this quantum mechanics. It's a new science. It's that fundamentally the universe is non-deterministic at its core, and so there's a spin going on of saying, oh, quantum mechanics, that means that we have some control over that, right? That non-determinism, or that non-determinism opens the door for some sort of deity to come in and do things.
Okay, sure. And now that I see what you're driving at, that's actually the subject of the quantum gods is just that, because in the quantum gods, I talk about two kinds of alternatives to the Judeo-Christian Islamic scenario. Mm-hmm. And one of these I call quantum spirituality, because you find that while there's been a substantial growth in the world, and especially and in this country, of disassociation with organized religion, that's now about 15% of the population do not associate themselves with some religion. Maybe half of these,
right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Some of maybe half of these. It's hard to judge, because you ask people what they really believe. Say, well, maybe there's still something out there, because they, not again having all that scientific background that I've been talking about, not hearing all those arguments that science is providing, they still have that nagging feeling that you can't just explain what we see around us with simple material models of space and time and matter. They find that hard to believe. They then see, how could we be? There's a lot of objection to the notion that we're only particles. Now, I don't. You see, I spent 40 years working with particles, and I don't know why people don't like particles so much. I mean, I think they're wonderful things. Particles are wonderful things. They have remarkable properties. Neutrinos are the most amazing things. I spent many years studying neutrinos and enjoyed every moment of it because they have this behavior of being able to change from one type to another and so on, transform from one to another. And why shouldn't they be capable of all of these? I have no problem imagining particles in the brain, for example, forming what we call a mind, and that has all the properties of that are often associated with spiritualism, like love and sympathy and empathy and everything else.
This consciousness and intelligence.
I see no reason why matter can't do that. So that's what the direction that I go on that.
Yeah. Well, I guess it seems magical to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right?
So anyway, it was in this book that I attacked that particular question of what other possibilities are there. Well, the first one, as I said, was this quantum spirituality. Now, what has drawn people? You could look it up on Google quantum spirituality, or better yet, quantum healing. Google quantum healing, and you'll get thousands and thousands and thousands of hits. The sites telling you how you can make yourself better, and there have been books out like The Secret and What the Bleep Do We Know, that in recent years have continued a trend that goes back 30 years to the Tao of Physics by Fritjof Capra and the New Age movement. That's basically taught that we can be whatever we want to be because we make our own reality. Deepak Chopra is again one of the main conveyors of this idea that we make our own reality, and that's comes from a misreading of quantum mechanics. And so I show why quantum mechanics does not imply that at all. That's just a case of people having wishful thinking. And then the other half of the book dealt with theologians who people that I actually have a lot of respect for because they don't take the attitude that science and religion conflict, so therefore science must be wrong. They say where science and religion conflict, religion must be wrong. We're theologians. Let's see if we can make religion consistent with science as we know it. And they've managed to do that to some extent by using quantum mechanics and arguing that the Heisenberg uncertainty principle makes it possible for God to act. In fact, there have been a whole series of conferences sponsored by the Vatican of finding ways that God can act in the universe in a way that does not
this is like the mechanism where God can reach in our brain and control our thoughts and this sort of thing.
So this is a worthy effort. I mean, at least they're not saying science, like the creation scientists come up with arguments that science is wrong, and it's not this way at all. They really do accept science. Many of them are very well trained as scientists or have good training. Were previously scientists before they became theologians, and so they're making a good effort there. But I still think they fail because I still think you can't find a God compatible with science, except for one God. It was the God actually that Einstein refused to believe in, and that is the God that plays dice. This is a God that sets the universe in motion and then tosses the dice, randomizes everything. He had to randomize everything because based on current cosmology, the universe started out completely random, in complete chaos. So the God who created the universe would have had to do that, would have had to start up the universe, but then randomize it, toss the dice, and then let it carry on as it would. And there are actually some theologians who have adopted that idea, although they won't admit that there's no way they can make it consistent with Christianity. That's the one thing they can't. They won't accept you. They won't call it deism, even though it's exactly what the term deism refers to.